अंतःसाधनों द्वारे हम क्या
Form up on me. Bottle?已经看了，已经看了吗？哎，金倩，
एक ना
निम तुम्हाला
Enemies ahead! Marked a location.
Jangan lupa. Problem sih. अच्छा जी चिंता मिठे सोई जी मिठे सोई
आनंदी लगी dari
one of the
Let's go! Marked a vehicle.
Why are you saying no?
ठेवे मारा चुका ठेवे मारा जिनो बाहर ने एविडेंट में पे बंद अदर दवा वाला
हेलो 1 मिनट पर्ख है एकछिन ल ल ल नवीन हजुर
आम खाएगा टाटा తీసాను. continue with TV atau mana?
Bana kimse atması söylere. Bana amsan kalsın da bir yedeyim ha. Ciddi sıra gelmedi ule. Obstetric defined as the branch of medicine that deals with the pregnancy and childbirth. That deals with the pregnancy and the childbirth. Obstetric is defined as the branch of medicine. Obstetric is defined as the branch of medicine that deals with obstetric is the branch of medicine that deals with the pregnancy and childbirth. That deals with pregnancy and childbirth. Obstetric is the branch of medicine that deals with the parturition. The term obstetric is derived from the Latin word for midwife is of recent introduction until 19th century. The word midwifery was generally used. The subject midwifery is divided into three parts: prenatal, natal, and postnatal. Prenatal, natal, and post. Okay. Prenatal. This includes the study of maternal conditions. This includes the study of maternal conditions, psychological changes, and other necessary topics from conception to term. This include prenatal. This include the study of maternal conditions, psychological changes, and other necessary topics from conception to term. This includes physiology. This includes physiology of conception, fetal and placental development, psychological changes, minor and major problems of pregnancy and their management. Prenatal care. This includes the study of maternal conditions. This include the study of maternal conditions, psychological changes. This includes the study of maternal conditions, psychological changes, and other necessary topics. From conception to term. This includes psychology. This includes physiology of conception. This includes physiology of conception, fetal and placental development, psychological changes, minor and major problem of pregnancy and their management. Natal care. This includes the initiation of labor, delivery of baby and placenta, management of complications during labor and delivery, and care of the baby and the mother throughout 1 to 2 hours after delivery. Natal care. This includes the initiation of the labor. This includes the initiation of the labor, delivery of baby and placenta. This includes the initiation of the labor. This includes the initiation of the labor, delivery of the baby, initiation of the labor, delivery of the baby and placenta, management of the complications during the labor, and delivery and care of the baby and mother throughout 1 to 2 hours of delivery. Postnatal care. This includes the part of the following delivery after 1 to 2 hours to 42 days. 1 to 2 hours to 42 days. Throughout 1 to 2 hours the natal care. 1 to 2 hours to 42 days. 1 to 2 hours to 42 days. 1 to 2 hours to 42 days. This includes the part of the following delivery after 1 to 2 hours to 42 days of childbirth. This includes the part of the following delivery after 1 to 2 hours to 42 days of childbirth. In this part, we have to study the physiological changes after delivery, minor and major disorder during puberty. This includes the part of the following delivery after 1 to 2 hours to 42 days of childbirth. In this part, we have to study the physiological changes after delivery, minor and major disorder during puberty. Okay. Historical review of midwifery service in national and international. Okay. The history of midwifery is a long and interesting one. Women of all ages and countries have done noble work as midwives throughout the countries. Socrates' mother was a midwife, and he considered it a must respected profession. He considered it as a most respected profession. He considered it as a most respected profession. He considered it as a most respected profession. The history of midwife is a long. The history of midwife is a long and interesting one. Women of all ages and countries have done. Noble work of midwives throughout the countries. Socrates' mother was a midwife, and he considered it as a most respected profession. According to Aristotle, a midwife is a most necessary and honorable office, being a helper of nature. Midwife carries a huge responsibility in helping women during childbirth. Until the end of the 16th century, midwives was practiced entirely by women. Men could be severely punished for attending women in childbirth. In the 17th century, male midwives began to take up midwifery. By the middle of the um, by the end of the by the middle of the 18th century, the number of the by the middle of the 18th century, the number of the male midwives have increased. By the mid by the middle by the middle of the 18th century, the number of the male midwives have increased through there was great opposition and competition from the midwives and from the general public. In English, the word midwife means with woman, the person with a woman who is in labor. The midwife has a unique role in the care of mothers and babies. The midwives has a unique role in care of the mothers and the babies. She must be able to give she must be able to give the she must be able to give she must be able to give the necessary supervision, care, and advice to women during pregnancy, labor, and the postpartum period, to conduct deliveries on her own responsibility, and to care for the mother and the newborn. In English, the word midwife means the woman, the person with the woman who is in labor. The midwife has a unique role in the care of the mother and the baby. She must be able to give the necessary supervision, care, and advice to the woman during pregnancy. Advice She must be able to give the necessary supervision, care, and advice to women during labor, and the postpartum period to conduct deliveries on her own responsibility and to care for the mother and the newborn and to care for the mother and the newborn. During the 19th century, during the 19th century, several hospitals began to train midwives and to issue certificates. In 1902, Midwives Act in the United Kingdom entitled on Act to secure better training and supervision of the midwife. In 1992, the WHO defined that a midwife is a person who having been regularly admitted to midwifery educational program, duty recognized in the country in which it is located, has successfully completed the prescribed course or studies in midwifery, and has acquired the requisite qualification to be registered and or legally licensed to practice with uh, legally licensed to practice midwifery. In 1992, the WHO defined that a midwife is a person who, having been regularly admitted to midwifery educational program. In 1992, the WHO defined that a midwife is a person who, having been regularly admitted to midwifery educational programs, duty recognized in the country educational programs duty recognized in the country in which it is in which it is located, has successfully completed the prescribed course or studies in midwifery, and has acquired the requisite qualifications to be registered or legally licensed to practice midwifery. The process of pregnancy and delivery of a woman dates back to time immemorial. The function of midwifery is recorded. The function of the midwifery is recorded at the end of the 16th century. Men were not allowed to help in the labor. Therefore, such functions were carried out by experienced women who passed down their knowledge and skill to their daughter or sister from generation to the generation. Some of these women did this work for charity, while others made it a way for earning. The first book on midwifery was published in 1513 AD in Germany. 1530 AD in Germany. The first book of midwifery was produced in 1513 AD in Germany. 1530 AD in Germany. This book was later translated into English in 1540 AD. However, in those days, even in Europe, the literacy rate of women was almost nil. Therefore, the so-called midwives could not use the book, and the work of midwifery was carried out merely by experience and perhaps by trial and error methods. The first person to practice the modern art of obstetric was a French surgeon named Ambroise Pare. Toward the end of the 16th century, Pare opened a school for Paris. Midwives in Paris. He thought it was necessary to train midwives so that they could recognize abnormalities and seek the help of the surgeon. In Britain, a normal place for giving instruction to midwives was started in Edinburgh. This was in the beginning of the 18th century. In Nepal. Births was attended by those women who have had experience of the childbirth. They were called upon if they were called upon if the spontaneous birth was delayed. They were called upon if spontaneous birth was delayed. The women known as Sudani or uh, Aji had no formal education. In fact, most of them were illiterate. However, training for these midwives was first initiated by the Nepal Red Cross Society, and the training of these midwives and the women's organization. Nowadays, majority of deliveries are conducted by these Sudanese. These Sudanese pass their knowledge and skill to their own family members, such as daughters, sister, daughter-in-law, or sister-in-law. Traditionally, the cure during pregnancy, childbirth, and preparium was assisted by the women, either from family, neighbors, or practitioner, who were independently solving the needy women. Majority of the delivery of baby takes place at home. Majority of the delivery takes place at home. Maternal and neonatal maternal and neonatal mortality was very high because of the complications. As the time changed with the need of the society and consumers, healthcare patrons also moved towards the awareness of the hospital delivery, the preventive, promotive, and rehabilitative aspect of the midwifery service. Um, as the time changed with the need as the time changed with the need of the society and consumers, healthcare patrons also moved towards the awareness of the hospital delivery and the preventive, promotive, and rehabilitative aspect of the midwifery service. In 1947, VSB hospital was established, which is the first hospital of our country. In 1947, the B hospital was established, which is the first hospital of our country. During the period of 1947 to 1985 years, there were no nurses to provide care of the patient. Initially, professionally trained midwives were hired from India to work in the maternity ward of the B hospital. When it was felt necessary to have local midwives, a group of four ladies, Mrs. Vidya Devi Kansakar, Vidya Devi Radha Devi Malakar, Dharma Devi Kansakar, and Vishnu Devi Mali were sent to India for a training of 18-month midwifery course. At completion of training, they came back in 1987 BS and joined in B hospital. Similarly, in 2008, BS Miss Siva Kumari, Miss Vishnu Devi, and in 2009, Miss Mona Devi and Miss Chanchala, Miss Guna Kumari, and Miss Isori were sent to India for A&M training. After completion of the training, they worked in Bir Hospital. In 2010, 8 midwives were sent to Kamala Memorial Hospital, Ahmedabad, India for midwifery training. After completion of midwifery training, they were appointed to maternity Thapatali, which was in 2006. Vadra. 2016. In the nursing school was opened in Nepal in 2013 years. After completion of the 3 years general nursing in Nepal, the first batch of students were sent to Delhi for midwifery training. Following the establishment of the maternity hospital in Thapatali, midwifery training was begun in Nepal. However, the duration and the type of the training vary at different hospitals according to their own policies and requirements. In this way, the first A&M training school was started in Bharatpur in 2019 years with the support of USAID. Midwifery is the main component of the A&M course, and the course is focused on midwifery. In Tribhuvan University, midwifery is included in the 3-year nursing program of the certificate level course, and midwifery is considered as an absolute necessity for nurses working in an area necessity for nurses working in an area, urban or rural. In 1977, the TUIM was started a bachelor degree in nursing with majority in midwives. After completion of these two batches, BN general nursing has been instituted and incorporated a certain component of midwifery. Nowadays, TU, PU, KU, Pokhara University, BPKIS, Taran, and CTV are producing different level of nursing program in which the midwifery is included as a core course. Those who call themselves midwives, a statement to public about what the profession of midwifery defines as a moral, what the profession midwives, a statement to the public about what the profession of midwives define as moral behavior of our respect. ethics is a public declaration of the beliefs and values of a profession and the profession. A code of ethics. A code of ethics is a public declaration of the beliefs and the values of a profession and the members of that profession. This code makes public the goals. This code makes public the goals, values, and morals of those who call themselves midwives. A statement of the public about a statement of the public about what the profession of midwifery defines as moral behavior for its practitioners. Ethics codes are often a mix of ethics. Ethics codes are often a mix. Ethics codes. Ethics codes are often a mix of universal ethical principles and strongly held values specific to the professional group. Specific to the professional group. Um, the process of development of ICM code, the charge the charge to develop a code ethics that defines the moral context of midwifery in meeting the needs of women needs of women came from the ICM board of management during the mid 1980s. A brief history of the process of development of the ICM. A brief history of the process of development of ICM international code of ethics for midwives may help the reader to understand more fully how specific principles and concept were included and why others were not and why others were not. The code was drafted in a series of workshops beginning in May 1986 in the Vancouver, Canada, and continuing in 1987 in The Hague, the Netherlands, and in 1991 in the Madrid, Spain. The final draft. What the hell is this? The code midwifery aims of the ICM. The aim of the International Conference of Midwives. The aim of the International Confederation Midwives is to improve the standard of the care provided to the women. The aim of the International International Confederation of Midwives. The aim of the International Confederation of the Midwives is to improve the standards of the care provided to women, babies, and the families throughout the world in of the development, education, and appropriate utilization of the professional midwives. In keeping with its aim of women's International Confederation of Midwives. The aim of the International Confederation of Midwives is to improve the standard of the care to provide women, improve the standard of the care provided to the women, babies, and the families throughout the world through the development throughout the world through the development, education, and appropriate utilization of the professional midwives. In keeping with its aim of women's health and the focus on the midwife, the ICM set forth the following code to guide the education, practice, and research of the midwife. The code acknowledges a woman as a person with human rights, seek justice for all people and equity in access to healthcare, and is based on mutual relationship or respect, trust, and dignity of members of the society. In an effort to increase understanding and hence use of international code of ethics for midwives, the ICM Board of Management commissioned the publication of the document, the code. Midwifery relationship. Midwives respect a woman's informed right of choice and promote the woman's acceptance of responsibility for the outcome of her choice. Mm, midwives respect a woman's informed right of choice. Midwife respect a woman's informed midwife respect a woman's informed right of choice and promote the woman's acceptance of responsibility for the outcome of her choices. Midwives respect a woman's informed right of choice and promote a woman's acceptance of responsibility for the outcomes of her choices. Midwives work with women, supporting their right to participate. Midwives work with the women, supporting their right to participate actively in decision about their care and empowering women to speak for themselves on issues affect the health of the women and their families in their culture society. Midwives, together with women, work with policy and funding agencies to define women's needs for health services and to ensure that resources are fairly allocated considering priorities and availability. Midwives support and sustain each other in their professional roles and actively nurture their own and other senses of self-worth. Midwives work with other health professionals, consulting and referring as necessary when the woman's need for care exceeds the competencies of the midwives. Midwives midwives recognize the human interdependence. Midwives recognize the human interdependence within their field of the practice and actively seek to resolve inherent conflict. Inherent conflict. The midwife has a responsibility to her or himself as a moral worth, including duties of moral self-respect and the preservation of the integrity. The midwife has a responsibility to her or himself as a moral worth, including duties of moral self-respect and the preservation of the integrity. Practice of midwifery. Midwives provide care for the women and childbearing families with respect for cultural diversity, while also working to eliminate harmful practices within those same cultures. Midwives encourages realistic expectation of the childbirth. Midwife encourages realistic expectations of the childbirth by women within their own society with the minimum expectation that no women should be harmed by conception or childbearing. Midwives use their professional knowledge to ensure safe birthing practices in all environment and culture. Midwives responds to the psychologically, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs of the women seeking healthcare, whatever their circumstances. Midwives act as midwives act as effective. Midwives act as effective roles in role models. Midwives act as effective role models in health promotions for women throughout their life cycle, for families, and for other health professionals. Midwives actively seek personal, intellectual, and professional growth throughout their midwifery career, integrating this growth into the practice. The professional responsibilities of midwives. Midwives hold in confidence client information in order to protect the right of privacy in order to protect the right to privacy and use judgment in sharing the information. Midwives who are responsibly for their decision and action are accountable for the related outcomes in their care of the woman. Midwives may refuse to participate in activities for for which hold deep moral opposition. However, the emphasis on conscience should not deprive women in essential health services. Midwives understand the adverse consequences that ethical and human rights midwives understand the adverse consequences that ethical and human rights violation have on the health of the women and infants and will work to eliminate these violations. Midwives participate in the development and implementation of health policies that promote the health of all women and childbearing families. Advancement of the midwifery knowledge and gradation. Midwives ensure that the advancement of the midwifery knowledge is based on activities that protect the rights of the woman as a person. Midwives develop the shared midwifery knowledge through a variety of processes such as a peer review and research. Midwives participate in the formal education of midwifery students and midwives. Suggestion on use the code of ethics. The value of a statement of one's professional code of ethics lies in its usefulness in all spheres. The values of statement of one's professional code of ethics lies in its usefulness in all spheres of professional practice. For the midwives, these spheres of professional practice may include direct caregiving, teaching others, administration, and research. The following are suggestions of how the ICM International Code of Ethics for Midwives should be used. In daily practice, the code can be important tool. The code can be important tool or a reference point, yardstick, which when facing decision on what one should do in caring for women and childbearing families. While the statement of the code may not give absolute direction to your decision making, they can offer a framework for action. Selecting an action that promotes good or prevent harm to women. Practitioners could use criteria within the code when negotiating with others in an effort to obtain the best outcomes for women and their families. The code can be shared with the public by the posting of printing copies. In education, teacher has an in education the midwife teacher has an obligation to help students understand what it means to be a moral agent, to practice ethically, and to identify, understand, and accept the dominant values of the profession of the midwifery. Teaching methods include a value analysis of each statement of the code, using the code in the ethical analysis of critical incidents from midwifery practice, and comparing the basis tenets of the code for midwives with those of codes from other professional groups. Critical incidents analysis can be a powerful teaching instrument at any level, illuminating practice decision with the code's principle as well as with personally identified values. In administration, midwives can use the code to establish a working environment for ethical practice. Administration can use the tenets of the code to define expectation of how midwife is related to clients as framework for this discussion groups, and for establishing an ethical environment in which employees can function. In research, the code explicitly defines the ethical approaches of the midwives in statement third A and statement fourth uh, in its entirety. Researchers whether midwives and others should adhere to these basic principles and assure fully informed consent in all research subjects. Terminology is used in midwifery. सुन उठो
किन अङ्कल छु
terminology used in midwifery. Midwifery is the health science and the health profession that deals with pregnancy, childbirth, and the postpartum period, including care of the newborn, besides the sexual and reproductive health of the women throughout their lives. Common terminology used in midwifery are gravida. The term gravida comes from the Latin word. It is used to describe the total number of the confirmed pregnancies. The term gravida comes from the Latin word. It is used to describe the total number of confirmed pregnancies. It is used to describe the total number of confined pregnancies a woman has regardless of the outcome of the pregnancy. This depends on conception. There are different types of gravida. Depends on conception. There are different types of gravida. Those are in the null gravida, primigravida, multigravida, paragravida. Null gravida. Non gravida, primigravida, multigravida. Non gravida. A non gravida is a woman who has never been pregnant. A non gravida is a woman who has never been pregnant. A non gravida is a woman who has never been pregnant. Primigravida. A primigravida is a woman who is pregnant for the first time or has been pregnant one time. Primigravida. A primigravida is a woman. A primigravida is a woman who is pregnant for the first time or has been pregnant one time. Multigravida. A multigravida or secondary gravida is a woman who has been pregnant more than one time. Multigravida is a woman who has been pregnant more than one time. Primigravida is a woman who is pregnant for the first time or has been pregnant one time. Nonce who has never been pregnant. Para refers to the total number of pregnancies that a woman has carried past 20 weeks of pregnancy. This number includes both the live births and the pregnancy losses after 20 weeks, such as stillbirth. Different types of para are primipara, multipara, nullipara. Primiparas is a woman who has been given birth once. A primipara is a woman who has been given birth once. A multipara is a woman who has been birthed more than once. A primipara is a woman who has been given birth once. A multipara is a woman who has given birth more than once. Nulliparous is a woman who has not given birth previously regarding of outcome. Grand multipara. A grand multipara is a woman who has already delivered five or more infants who have achieved a gestational age of 24 weeks or more. A grand multipara is a woman who has already delivered five or more infants who have achieved a gestational age of 24 weeks or more. A great grandpara. A great grand multipara has delivered seven or more infants, 24 weeks of gestation. Abortion, termination of the pregnancy before the fetus is visible. Abortion, termination of the pregnancy before the fetus is visible. Categories of abortion include miscarriage, induction, abortion. Abortion is the termination of the pregnancy before the fetus is visible. Categories of abortion. Termination of the pregnancy before the fetus is visible. Categories of abortion. Miscarriage. Spontaneous expulsion of a woman fetus without any medical intervention when there is a physical problem with the pregnancy during the first 12 weeks of gestation. spontaneous expulsion, miscarriage, spontaneous expulsion of a human fetus without any medical intervention. Spontaneous expulsion of a fetus, spontaneous expulsion of a human fetus. Spontaneous expulsion of a human fetus without any medical intervention when there is a physical problem with the pregnancy during the first 12 weeks of gestation. First 12 weeks of gestation, during the first 12 weeks of gestation. First 12 weeks of gestation. Induced abortion. An abortion that is the result of any procedure done by a licensed physician or someone under the supervision of the licensed physician to purposefully end the pregnancy is called an induced abortion. Induced abortion that is the result of pregnancy. That is a result of any procedure done by a licensed physician, done by a licensed physician or someone under the supervision of a licensed physician to purposefully end of the pregnancy in is called as induced abortion. Stillbirth as a baby delivered with no sign of life known to have died after 24 completed weeks of pregnancy. Stillbirth as a baby delivered with no sign of life. Stillbirth as a baby delivered with no sign of life known to have died after 24 completed weeks of the pregnancy. After 24 completed weeks of the pregnancy. Intrauterine fetal death. Intrauterine fetal death. Intrauterine fetal death. Intrauterine fetal death refers to babies with no signs of life in utero. Intrauterine death refers to the babies with no signs of life in utero. Categories of term pregnancy. Various categories of term pregnancy have mentioned below. Preterm, premature birth. Preterm or premature birth. The premature birth is the birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Preterm baby of a premature birth means premature birth means birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Birth of a baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Birth of a baby birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Full term birth. Full term is the birth of the baby between 39 weeks through 40 weeks and 6 days. 39 weeks through 40 weeks and 6 days. Full term baby. A full term birth. Full term birth is the birth of the baby between 39 weeks through 40 weeks and 6 days. Preterm birth is the birth of the baby at less than 37 weeks of gestational age. Full term is the birth of the baby between 39 weeks through 40 weeks and 6 days. Between 39 weeks to 40 weeks and 6 days. Late term birth of the baby between 41 weeks through 41 weeks over through between 4 weeks through 41 6 days. Postterm birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Let us know the baby between 42 or through between 41 weeks or through 41 weeks. Between 41 weeks or through 41 weeks 6 days. Postterm birth of a baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the baby after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the babies after 42 weeks and beyond. Birth of the babies after 42 weeks and beyond. Trimester. Trimester means 3 months. A normal pregnancy lasts about 9 months and has 3 trimesters. Trimester means 3 months. Trimester means 3 months. A normal pregnancy lasts about 9 months and has 3 trimesters. A normal pregnancy lasts about 9 months and has 3 trimesters. No, trimester means 3 months. Trimester means 3 months. A normal pregnancy lasts about 9 months and has 3 trimesters. Obstetric. Obstetric deals with the care of the woman's reproductive tract and their children during pregnancy, childbirth, and the postnatal period. Obstetric deals with the care of the woman's obstetrics deals with the care of the woman's reproductive tracts and their children during pregnancy, childbirth, and the postnatal period. A doctor performing such practice is called obstetrician. Obstetric deals with the care of the woman's reproductive tracts. Obstetrics deals with the care of the woman's obstetric deals with the care of the woman's reproductive tract and their children during pregnancy, childbirth, and the postnatal period. A doctor performing such practice is called obstetrician. Last menstrual period, LMP, or last menstrual period. It is the time elapsed since 14 days prior to fertilization. It is the time elapsed since 14 days prior to it is the time elapsed since 14 days prior to fertilization. It is the time elapsed since 14 days prior to fertilization. EDC or EDD, that is the due date. Expected date of child.
हजुर नाचे फिल्म हालिदिन्छु त्यो
Expected due date. Date of child stand for the old-fashioned estimated date of confinement. Estimated date of confinement. यहाँ से tag लूँ. Date of confinement, EDD. Expected due date is the more modern estimated day of delivery. Estimated day of delivery. EDD is the more modern estimated day of delivery.
अन्त
EDD is the more modern estimated day of delivery. The average pregnancy or gestation is 40 weeks or 280 days from the first day of the last menstrual period. Okay. The average pregnancy. The average pregnancy gestation is 40 weeks or 280 days from the first day of the last menstrual period. For a 28-day cycle, expected date of delivery is calculated by taking the last menstrual period and adding 9 months and 7 days to it. For a 28-day cycle, expected day of delivery is calculated by taking the LMP and adding 9 months and 7 days to it. If the cycle is longer than 28 days, add the difference between cycle length and 28 days. If the cycle is longer than 28 days, add the difference between cycle length and the 28 days. Nagel's rule. Subtract 3 months from the first day of the last menstrual period and add 7 days. Subtract 3 months from the first day of the last menstrual period. Subtract 3 months from the first day of the last menstrual period. Add 7 days. Gravida. It is the number of times the mother has been pregnant, regardless of whether these pregnancies were carried to term. 3 months from the first day of the last menstrual period and had some days. Gravida. It is the number of times the mother has been pregnant, regardless of whether this pregnancy will carry to term. A current pregnancy, if any, is induced in this context. Or nulli-gravida or gravida zero is a woman who has never been pregnant. A primigravida A primigravida or gravida 1 is a woman who is pregnant for the first time or has been pregnant one time. A multigravida or more specifically gravida 2, also second gravida 3 and so on is a woman who has been pregnant more than one time. An elderly primigravida is a woman in a pregnancy who is at least 35 years old. Party. Parity. It is the number of times the woman has delivered after the age of viability. It is the number of times the woman has delivered after the age of viability. It includes the birth after 24 weeks or those having weight of 500 grams. TPA method. Para is often recorded in 4 numbers. T, the number of term deliveries. TPAL, 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 the number of term deliveries are T, the number of term deliveries after 37 weeks. After 37 weeks, the number of term deliveries after 37 weeks. The number of term deliveries after 37 weeks. P, the number of premature deliveries. T, term deliveries. P, premature deliveries. T, the number of term deliveries after 37 weeks. After 37 weeks. P, the number of premature deliveries more than 20 weeks, and less than 20 weeks and more than 37 weeks. What the hell are you doing?
बिना लेना फेक पड़ गया है